43, 9 plus 1. Could the 43 make a comeback? When it's this build, it can. What's up, guys? Finn Firearms here. Nowadays, with stuff like the FN Reflex, the 6-hour P365, Springfield Armory Hellcat, HKCC9, and so on, a lot of people have abandoned single stacks. Even though these guns that are stack and a half, typically speaking, are a little bit thicker than single stacks. Therefore, single stacks are a little bit easier to carry, have less print, and make a great summertime carry option or deep concealment option, being so thin that they can still fit in your pocket. The Reflex, the more and more I shoot this gun, the better and better it is. This is a phenomenal carry gun and is beyond underrated. You see so much spotlight put on the P365. The Reflex blows it out of the water. Just an unbelievable trigger and everything else. And the Glock 43 sort of fell behind. And that's because it's only 6 plus 1 with the flush mag. But in today's setup, we're going to be talking about a 9 plus 1 for a total of 10 round setup. And something that Glock could do to make this gun come back to life. And Glock can still make a lot of money from it with the Gen 6. Right here is a Glock 43X. This is 10 plus 1. So we got 9 plus 1 and 10 plus 1. And the problem is a lot of people already have single stacks because they were the best to carry at that time. The Shields, the PPSs from Walther, the Glock 43s, even the CZ P10M, which is one of the more recent single stack releases. People bought them because they were super thin and easy to carry, and at the time there was no such thing as a stack and a half gun, and it was a way to go away from a thick, heavy subcompact like my favorite gun, the Glock 27. Now what's interesting is Shield Arms came out with magazines, and for the 43X, they started off pretty rough, and over time they may have gotten a little bit better, but when I put out a poll about 2-3 years ago, it was about 50% reliability. 50% of the people that have them had issues, 50% didn't. I have 9 Shield Arms S15 mags, not a single issue. This right here is the Z9 mag from them, making it 9 plus 1, and they even have the Z10 or the Z9 plus 1, which makes it 10 plus 1, which gives you the same capacity of a 43X without having to go and get a 43X. Now, I put a hoe grip on my gun because I like wider guns in the hand, so it defeats the purpose though. But I like it for the shootability and reliability. But when you really break it down, even with the hoe grip, it's about the same width. But the Glock 43 is a much thinner gun than the 43X. And the 43X is the length of a Glock 19. So what I did is I made it my goal to take a 43 and revamp it and make it as much relevance, give it as much relevancy as we possibly can in today's day and age. And so right here I have a fully set up Glock 43 that is an absolute beast. And today we did some testing. Here, I'll show you a couple videos real quick. Glock 43. Is this revamped? Right now we have the Shield Z9 mag in there for 9 plus 1, a total of 10 rounds. All aftermarket parts. Can it run? Of course it can. That's what Glocks are designed for. 43, 9 plus 1. Could the 43 make a comeback? When it's this build, it can. So there's some just one-handed shooting while I'm filming, and this thing is solid as can be. And the problem was a lot of other people came to the range. Typically, there's no one there when we're filming, so we couldn't really get a whole lot of content without a lot of shooting in the background. But this thing right here rips. This is one of the best shooting small guns that I own, and I did put the hoe grip on it. Now, the thing about hoe grips are they're meant for reducing recoil. Obviously, they add width, which makes the 43 feel great in your hand. The nice part about some of these stack and a half Micro 9s is they're a little bit thicker, so you still get a really good purchase on the gun. Even the FN Reflex is thicker than a stock 43 with no hoe grip, so you do get a really good purchase on the gun. Even though it's not the best feeling in the world because it's very thin, it's still more than what the single stacks offer. I mean, look at this PPS. It is so ridiculously thin. Speaking of the PPS, Walther, when are you releasing the PPS M3 in 9mm? Give us 10 plus 1. Heck, give us 9 plus 1 in a setup of this size. And I'd absolutely love it. So right here, we have a PPS M1. So you can either look at this in 40 as 6 plus 1 or 9, which would be 7 plus 1. And on the right, we have 9 plus 1 of 9mm for a total of 10 rounds. I'm telling you, this is one of the best shooting guns I've ever shot. And yes, there's some stuff done to it. But honestly, if you have a stock 43 at home and you run the Z9 mags, you have a beast of a setup. Now just imagine this. Glock, for the Gen 6s, watch them step out of their comfort zone, right? Obviously, the owner of Glock, Gaston Glock, passed away. Rest in peace. You are a genius. You make the best gun on the planet. But they always were falling behind in keeping up with all this new stuff, right? But what they could do is, simple for them. Shield Arms figured it out, and my Z9 mags have been reliable since I got the new batch. They've been flawless. Not a single hiccup, not a single problem, and I have multiple Glock 43s. And the thing about it is, Glock, they could just do that. They could do the same thing. They could get a Z9 mag with a Z9 mag release, make it their own, call it the Glock 9 or whatever you want to call it. And you could turn this into a stack and a half Micro 9 without even redesigning the gun. And the thing about this is these mags are just, they're not any thicker. Therefore, the Glock 43 is so thin. I mean, look at this. So thin. And this has a grip layer on it. And you're still getting stack and a half capacity. This being 9+1, and then the 10+1 sits like down here. You can make this smaller than a 43X. Check that out. Smaller than a 43X with the same capacity, and it's going to be relevant and stack and a half. Now, check this out. Up top, we have an American-made arm slide. Look at the quality on this thing. Look at the finish. Now, check out those rear serrations with those little, half circles on them. Look at how it makes my barrel look. Code SBN5 for 5% off American-made arm slides. They have them for 19s, 17s, 43s, 43Xs, and 48s, and some other stuff as well. But the code SBN5, like I said, it is the best quality slide I have, other than my Norso and maybe one other brand. But these are just flawless. Kaplan makes a really good slide too, but are extremely, extremely expensive. They make a really nice slide, and they all function. They all run. This, you might say, oh, well, that's not even a Glock 43 anymore. The trick is, all internals must be OEM parts. For any Glock build, Glocks were designed with the tolerances to put whatever parts on it you want and still work. That's how Glocks were designed. They were designed for such loose tolerances that under any condition, that gun is going to go bang. Now, if you're going to be using aftermarket parts, you don't have to get the highest end stuff in the world, but stay, medium level. Don't buy off-brand stuff. Be, Hooper Gunworks, American-made arms, Kaplan Manufacturing. There's a lot of good brands out there. Trigger Shark for triggers. Code SPM 15% off. And keep it to the good quality brands. Right here's a True Precision barrel. You can bid on these on eBay. I got one for 60 bucks. You can get a really nice setup going. And you can turn your 43X, sell the 43 slide, sell it for $150, $200. Buy yourself an optics-ready slide like this, and you're going to be good to go. You'll now have an optics-ready Micro 9 Glock 43 that is a shooter. This has less recoil than some of the Micro 9s you see out here, and it is so light. I think the Glock 43 is like 13 ounces. It's an unbelievable way to go. I mean, just look at the cuts. This thing is just a beautiful slide. And I pocket carried this Glock 43 for, about a year while doing plumbing, not with this upper. I changed out the upper because the other upper was just destroyed, I should say. But anyways, overall, absolutely sweet setup right here. Flawless. And if you want to check out Gideon Optics, code SPN for 10% off. This is the Valor. This is a phenomenal budget optic. So you can get a 43X or a 43 that is relevant in today's times, reliable as can be in an affordable way. It's an unbelievable gun. I love the 43. And I think there's a lot of 43 owners out there that, put them in the safe and just call it quits. But they're really, really good guns. And like I said, you can still run other mags. You don't have to make it optics ready. Right here, 7+1. Total of 8 rounds. Pocket pistol. Deep concealment. Summertime carry. It's a phenomenal setup. I'm not even joking. I was shocked by the way this performed. And so did everyone who shot this. They loved it. They thought it was unbelievable. And like I said, Glock tolerances were made that you could throw almost any decent quality part on there as long as you have Glock internals in your upper, Glock internals in your lower. That thing's going to run. And this thing right here is a flawless Glock 43. Do I trust it? I do. We've put the round count through it to make sure this thing runs. And when you get decent quality, like I said, you don't have to spend $300 on a barrel, but just get a good quality name like True Precision. You know it's going to run. So, overall, love this thing. I'm honestly shocked by it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.